When I wrote Noli Me Tangere, I asked myself whether bravery was a common thing in the young women of our people. I brought back to my recollection and reviewed those who I had known since my infancy. But there was only few who seemed to come up to my ideal. There was, it is true, an abundance of girls with agreeable manners, beautiful ways, and modest demeanor. But there was an all-out mixture of servitude and deference to the words or whims of their so-called spiritual fathers, as if the soul spirit had any father other than God. Due to the excessive kindness, modesty, or perhaps ignorance, they seem face plants sown and reared in darkness, having flowers without perfume and fruits without sap. Let us be reasonable and open our eyes, especially you women, because you are the first to influence the consciousness of man. Remember that a good mother does not resemble the mother that the fire has created. She must bring up her child to be the image of the true God, not of a blackmailing, a grasping God, but of a God who is the Father of us all, who is just, who does not suck the lifeblood of the poor like a vampire, nor scoffs at the agony of the sorely beset, nor makes a crooked path of the path of justice. Awaken and prepare the will of our children towards that is honorable, judged by the proper standards, to all that is sincere and firm of purpose, clear judgment, clear procedure, honesty in fact and deed, love for the fellow man and respect for God. This is what you must teach to your children. And, seeing that life is full of thorns and thistles, you must fortify their minds against any stroke of adversities and accustom them to danger. The people cannot expect honor nor prosperity so long as they educate their children in the wrong way, so long as the woman who guides the children in his steps is slavish and ignorant. No good water comes from a turbid, bitter spring. No savory fruit comes from acrid seed.
I do not pretend to be looked upon as an idol or fetish, and to be believed and listened to with eyes closed, the head bowed, and the arms crossed over the breast. What I ask of all is to reflect on what I tell him. Think it over, and shift it carefully through the sieve of reasons. First of all, that the tyranny of some is possible only through cowardice and negligence on the part of others. Second, what makes one contemptible is lack of dignity and abject fear of him who holds one in contempt. Third, ignorance is servitude, because as a man thinks, so he is. A man who does not think for himself and allow himself to be guided by the thought of another is like the beast led by a halter. Fourth, he who loves his independence must first aid his fellow man, because he who refuses protection to others will find himself without it. The isolated rib in the bury is easily broken, but not so the broom made of the ribs of the palm bound together. Fifth, if the Filipina will not change her mode of being, let her rear no more children, let her merely give birth to them. She must cease to be the mistress of the home. Otherwise, she will unconsciously betray husband, child, native land, and all. Sixth, all men are born equal, naked, without bonds. God did not create man to be a slave, nor did he endow him with intelligence to have him hoodwinked, or adorn him with reason to have him deceived by others. It is not fatuous to refuse to worship one's equal, to cultivate one's intellect, and to make use of reason in all things. Fatuous is he who makes a god of him, who makes brutes of others, and who strives to submit to his whims all that is reasonable and just. Seventh, consider well what kind of religion they are teaching you. See whether it is the will of God or according to the teachings of Christ that the poor be succored and those who suffer alleviated. Consider what they are preaching to you, the object of the sermon, what is behind the masses, novenas, rosaries, scapularies, images, miracles, candles, belts, etc., etc., which they daily keep before your minds. ears and eyes, jostling, shouting, and coaxing. Investigate whence they came and whither they go, and then compare what religion with the pure religion of Christ, and see whether the pretended observance of the life of Christ does not remind you of the fat milch of a cow or the fattened pig, which is encouraged to grow fat nor through love of the animal, but for grossly mercenary motives.
Let us therefore reflect. Let us consider our situation and see how we stand. May these poorly written lines aid you in your good purpose and help you to pursue the plan you have initiated. May your profit be greater than the capital invested, and I shall gladly accept the usual reward of all who dare tell your people the truth. May your desire to educate yourself be crowned with success. May you in the garden of learning gather not bitter, but choice fruit, looking well before you eat, because on the surface of the globe all is deceit, and the enemy sows weeds in your seedling plot. All this is the ardent desire of your compatriot, Jose Rizal.